Hello, and welcome back to the Patient First Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Bryan Laskin. And of course, as always at the Patient First Podcast, we are looking to increase the influence of today's engaged dentists. And today we have another controversial topic today. I kind of like controversial topics. We might as well ruffle those feathers, rub the cat in the wrong direction and see what shakes out. So make sure, of course, to like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know if you what you think of today's topic, where we are talking about what I believe to be is depicted as a devil in the industry, as an evil company that's come and infiltrated the shores of our beach, right? There's a company in dentistry that's considered evil by many dentists, dental professionals, and certainly a gigantic specialty within our clinic. I won't say which specialty because it'll give the company away. This company, however, has grown 62% in the last year. So in the last year, this is going back to March of 2021, they grew 62% with an over 40% increase, 42% increase in profitability. So they've grown 62%, over a 40% increase in profitability, although granted, they still lost $55 million last year. So it's a big company, but they're growing fast, and has lots of big tech companies that are growing fast. And I know they lose money for a while. So they have increased their profitability. They've also increased their average sale per transaction or patient. And the question is, who is this company, this seemingly evil corporation that has infiltrated our wonderful industry of dentistry? Who is this company? Well, you may have thought of it by now. That specialty, of course, that hates this company more than any other group, I would guess, of orthodontists. It is Smile Direct Club. Okay, Smile Direct Club. If you say this name, the mere mention of this name riles dentists up into a frenzy, right? But they've grown 62% in the last year. So I want to really dissect a bit why they've been able to grow in an industry that, typically speaking, doesn't have a favorable view of them. Now, I think they're trying to change that right now. They're doing a lot of things to change the public opinion. By public, I mean the dentist public. The public opinion out there, by and large, is obviously more positive than within dentistry, because they grew 62% last year with over 42% in profit margin. I think that there's a big reason why. And I think there's also a big reason why, as we try to look at things from the patient perspective, putting the patients first at the Patient First Podcast. It's in the name, right? Why are they loved by patients? How have they been able to grow despite the fact that the most people that are looked to with pride in this profession, the dentists who patients talk to, I don't think they get a lot of positive press through dentists. I don't think dental offices are pushing people to Smile Direct Club, yet they grew over 60% last year. Why is that? I think there is one word that describes it. It's convenience. If you want to have a backup word, I think it would be accessibility, right? I think that is truly why this company has grown, in spite of the fact of an industry that has shunned other companies that have even partnered with them. I know of one large corporation that's a great corporation with a great name that just announced that they were going to do a partnership with this company, and they had to pull back because of the negative impact, the negative pushback that they got from our industry. Yet, the reason why this company has grown so fast is because, dentists are always going to point out that it's cheaper. It's actually not, as I'll talk about in a little bit, than some alternatives that we have in our bag, some of the other tools. I think the reason why Smile Direct Club has grown so quickly is because they've become accessible to patients. They're right in front of patients. They're advertising directly to patients, and it is about time. They make it convenient. They have multiple locations. You can even do Smile Direct Club from your freaking house. You don't have to leave the house to get Smile Direct Club, right? Meanwhile, dentists have, for the most part, been extremely lackluster in adopting other teledental services. That's a point. Write that one down. Smile Direct Club has grown 62% because they're in people's homes. Yet, do you reach out to your patients in their house through teledentistry? Something to think about, right? It's about time. Oh, it is about costs. If you're charging $10,000 for a clear aligner case versus what Smile Direct Club, there is a big difference there, but you can compete on price with Smile Direct Club. Absolutely. But it is about convenience and accessibility, right? This would be a whole different podcast that we could do if you want to. I could bring on an orthodontist that may be more appropriate to talk about the results, because I've only seen a couple patients that have seen that have done Smile Direct Club, but they are having patients, I've heard, sign an NDA, so that says something. But it'd be a totally different podcast if we were to talk about whether or not Smile Direct Club is good or bad for patients or the industry. I want to focus, again, whenever you say Smile Direct Club, there's going to be an emotional response by most dentists. What I want to focus on is their growth and why. I mean, if you think about that, think of trying to go into an industry where everybody who's licensed, not every, but the vast majority of people licensed to practice in that industry is against you, and you still, against those headwinds, grow more 62%. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's what I want to focus this podcast on. How can the engaged dentists listening to this podcast, watching this podcast, how can we take those lessons and grow from them? Again, it's about convenience, right? Did your practice grow 62% last year? Probably not. I don't think, saying COVID is an excuse, frankly, because in the last year, offices have been open and they've grown. Dentistry, I think, has done very well. But I mean, with the headwinds that this company has growing that much, they're doing something right. And again, it's about convenience. So let's break it down. If you Google convenience, this is the first image that comes up. I'm going to list out the words that show up on this image, particularly for those people listening to the podcast, but also to point out the words. And then as I go through these words, think about your practice. Think about if there's ways for you to improve in each one of these terms. Okay, convenience, first of all, think about how convenient are you for your practice, for your patients. Can you do text and email payments directly from your website? Do you have all of your forms that people can fill out from their phone, sign it on their phone while they're at the grocery store? Do you, as I mentioned before, do you do what Smile Direct Club, which is teledentistry, where you reach people directly at their home? In this day and age, I think it is a must. That is why they grew so fast. They're the biggest teledentistry application on planet Earth, teledentistry application. That doesn't make sense. They only provide one service. How many services do you provide, right? Teledentistry needs to grow. That's why this company grew so fast. I think by and large, that's the number one reason, because they're reaching people literally where they are in their home. They're in front of them on Facebook, so people can just click, 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 buy. That's why. And I think we in dentistry need to learn from that. Obviously, we can't do all dentistry from home, but whenever possible, we should reach people where they are. So here's the words: responsive, right? Do you have a live chat, or can people reach you directly from your website? Friendly. Friendly, I would argue, has nothing to do with convenience. I think most dental offices are friendly. I think this is one of all of these terms that people do focus on, that they do have a friendly office. I think most people in dentistry go into dentistry to take care of other people. But how friendly is Google? How friendly is Amazon? Yeah, not so much. So I do think that friendly, if you can pass over, because I do think that most of us are friendly. However, if you don't have a friendly team, that's definitely something to work on. Okay, so responsive, friendly, comfort. If you're a listener of this podcast, you know that comfort, I believe, is the biggest thing that we can improve in dentistry. If you don't know how to give a painless injection, go to upgradedental.com. Take the course on how to give a painless injection. Get therapeutic virtual reality. Give people nitrous oxide, or whatever you can do to get people comfortable. Today, dentistry should not be uncomfortable. If it is, it's because we're doing it wrong, right? The vast majority of time. So let's address patient anxiety and make them comfortable. Supportive. I think we can be more supportive, particularly when it comes to treatment planning and presenting treatment to patients. We can support them in making dentistry more affordable through offering third-party financing or longer-term financing, through making treatment plans positioned where it's not just a laundry list of items, but it's broken down and easy to digest blocks that patients can understand, and they have options, right? Is it easily accessible? I don't think oftentimes we are. Do you have an extra operatory where you can fit in those emergency patients? And if they have a broken tooth, take care of them that day, right? Speedy service, again, taking care of them that day. Hugely important for people today. If you come in and if a patient comes in, they take time out of work to look at you have them look at a broken tooth and you can't do the crown that day, that isn't speedy service. If they come back in 2 weeks, that's not speedy service, right? And satisfaction. I think that generally speaking, patients are satisfied with their dental care. However, 22% of all dental treatment is delayed due to anxiety. So they're not that happy with it. So I think that we have a lot to learn from the growth of Smile Direct Club. That's kind of really what my whole point is, that this company that we in the profession have shunned by and large is growing faster than just about any other company that I know of in dentistry. And it's because they do these things. They're convenient. I'm not talking about the quality of the care here on this podcast. I'm saying, what can we learn from the explosive growth of Smile Direct Club? I think that we have to be more convenient. We need to be more responsive. We need to be more friendly, comfortable, supportive, easily accessible. We need to have speedier service. We need to run on time, right? And we need to provide for patient satisfaction and get reviews from your patients. If you don't know if your patients are satisfied, there's one way to find out. And by the way, when you have a patient that gives you a little bit of negative feedback, a great patient that says something like, yeah, that temporary hygienist wasn't the greatest, listen to them, make sure that they're heard and modify appropriately, right? Because that's what it's all about. We are all about putting the patient first. And again, there are affordable, more efficient, convenient clear aligner companies that if you don't, there's all sorts of great clear aligner companies. One company I just met, OrthoSnap, where you could definitely compete with a price with Smile Direct Club. So if you have a patient that's looking at that, look for another clear aligner company where you can actually compete on all of these items. So you can provide that convenience in your office, but still oversee the quality of care, right? So that you can see, you can mold that patient experience to be whatever you like while still being as convenient as other options. So I'd argue that we need to address convenience so that we can do what we're trying to do at this podcast, which is expand our influence and decrease the negative forces that attempt to infiltrate dentistry, right? The soda that we talked about on a previous podcast, or the direct to consumer that is really trying to bypass our oversight of the patient's oral health, right? We are here to positively influence our patient's oral health. So we need, I believe, to deliver dentistry in a way that they want to have it delivered. And Smile Direct Club is delivering dentistry the way patients want it delivered. We can do it too, but it's not going to just happen where we wake up one day and it's happened. We need to make those slight adjustments, seek out those new companies that are providing a lower cost alternative, or else just add value so that we can counteract this by doing teledentistry, by meeting people where they are. And so I think, it is an overarching theme of this podcast that there's this tidal wave of convenience that is crashing over our patients, and we need to adjust our practices towards that. And I wanted to point out today that even in the midst of some heavy headwinds, Smile Direct Club has grown a lot in the last year, and we can learn from that. We can take the lessons that what they've done right and apply it to our practice by being more convenient and meeting people where they are. Thank you very much. Again, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you think. What you think of Smile Direct Club. That might start a little fight, but thank you for watching.